The Canada Emergency Response Benefit, or CERB, has been extended now until the end of August, and it's been a lifesaver for many who lost their jobs. But the 2-month extension will come at a steep cost. The Parliamentary Budget Office estimates the additional 8 weeks of the CERB will cost about $18 billion. Add that to what's already been spent since the benefit was announced back in March, and the tab is predicted to top $71 billion. More than 8 million people have received CERB payments. Manitoba's government wants people to get off the CERB and get back to work. Some critics of the federal program say the $2,000 monthly payment is a disincentive for people to return to their jobs. Premier Brian Pallister is offering to temporarily top up their income. People who enroll in what's called the Manitoba Job Restart Program will be eligible for an initial payment of $500 plus 3 additional biweekly payments of $500 each, a total of $2,000 over 6 weeks. Global's Brittany Greesndale joins us from Winnipeg with the details on why the Premier is offering to pay people to return to work.
Donna, Premier Brian Pallister says this is a much-needed incentive to get Manitobans back to work without a fear of missing out on financial assistance. Well, the Premier couldn't say how many people in our province are currently on CERB or the student equivalent. He did say he's been hearing from businesses who are unable to get employees back who are collecting that $2,000 a month benefit. Pallister says his program is meant to kick CERB to the curb and kickstart the economy.
To some, the CERB programs become a barrier, preventing them from safely returning to work on a more full-time basis. And this is making it more difficult here in Manitoba. So this program will make employers more likely able to attract people to come back and work because they can tell them, look, you don't have to worry about losing the $2,000. The provincial government's going to give you that money anyway.
Now, I spoke with one business owner today who said he's had employees refuse to come back to work and instead choose to stay on CERB. Now, he would normally have 38 employees at this time. He's currently at less than half of that, and they're doing what they can. Out of 8 interviews that they held, they hired 4 of those people. Only 1 showed up on their first day of work. And the Canadian Federation of Independent Business says right now in Manitoba, 40% of businesses are at their regular staffing levels. Donna?
All right, Brittany Greesndale in Winnipeg, thanks. Alberta is talking about making a bold move and ditching the Canada pension plan so it can be replaced with one of its own. A so-called Fair Deal panel has studied the idea and recommended an Alberta pension plan proceed, but this is not a new idea. There's lots of pushback to it, and there's a long road ahead before it happens. Tom Vernon joins me from Edmonton. Tom, let's start with why. Why is Premier Jason Kenney pushing the idea of an Alberta pension plan?
Don, it goes back to that idea of a fair deal, which is what the panel was looking at. Look, here in Alberta, there have long been frustrations with programs like equalization, and they've only intensified since the economy dipped into recession here a few years ago and deficits began to balloon. Now, Premier Kenney says there is some more leverage that can be found with Ottawa here, and an idea is to pull out of the Canada pension plan and putting Alberta's share of that money into a fund. It's estimated that would total about $40 billion, which could then be managed by the Alberta Investment Management Corporation. Now, this has sparked heated debate between Kenney's UCP government and the Alberta NDP.
Is this Premier really so intent on settling the score with Ottawa that he's willing to gamble the retirement plans and future of millions of Albertans?
Why is the NDP so desperately against having an in-depth study into the prospective benefits of an Alberta rather than Toronto-run pension plan?
Tom, this isn't the first time this idea has been studied. What are the experts who have looked into this saying about it?
Yeah, you're right, Donna. This was first explored back in the early 2000s. A lot of work has been done on this. Now, Premier Kenney says the idea behind this is Alberta has a young population. We pay more into the system than we're getting out right now. So he believes that we would actually be able to lower premiums or get higher rates if we went the Alberta way. Now, one of the foremost experts on pension management in the country wrote a paper on this in January, and he warned of the risks. The population is younger here because of a large influx of people in the oil and gas economy. Well, that has since shed thousands of jobs. He says Albertans need to be fully aware of both the positives and the negatives of this plan.
Demographics change, and you need to think about these things before you make any kind of moves that seem to favor you in the short term.
Now, Donna, as you mentioned, there's a long road ahead here. The Finance Department here in Alberta has been tasked to look into this idea, and if it goes forward, it would have to be through a referendum. Also of note, an internal government document shows that 2/3 of Canada's provinces, with 2/3 of the population, would also have to approve the move. Donna?
All right. Tom Vernon in Edmonton, thank you.